Hello, I am Burt Green, and this is the Burt Locker, a show all about mixed martial arts, taking a light-hearted look at upcoming fights, past fights, betting lines, all that kind of crazy crap. So if that sounds good, if it sounds like something you'd be interested in, then do me a favour, hit subscribe if you're watching this. Don't think, hit subscribe. So, we're going to recap what happened at UFC Vegas 70. Also, have a very quick look at MMA news. New fight for Paddy Pimblett announced this week. If that sounds good, stay with me for the Burt Locker. But what my biggest takeaways from UFC 70 were Joe Solecki. He's just absolutely class on the ground. If you want to see an example of pure domination on the ground, take a look at how he dealt with Deaton at the weekend. It was absolutely fantastic. Deaton's got a terrible haircut, absolutely awful, so I'm glad that he lost in that respect. No, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I wish him all the best, but Solecki was just far too much for him. He was very good. Solecki might be a problem there, if I'm totally honest. Jordan Levitt. I did not think that he had that tight. Fair play to Jordan Levitt. I had him losing that one. I thought that he might get tagged and possibly go down. But you know what? He did really, really well. He got the tie clinch, landed some brutal knees, and got the knockout. The serial killer gets a knockout on his record that isn't a slam. So yeah, fair play to Jordan Levitt. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not surprised. I was a little bit surprised, but hey, fair play to you, mate. He looked absolutely fantastic, if I'm totally honest. Just very strong in every facet. I thought he may struggle in the striking, but he really didn't. So good for him. That's a great rebound from the Paddy Pimblett fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of the serial killer, Jordan Levitt, in the future. One guy that really, really stood out for me was Travis Peak. Now, Travis Peak was fighting, what was his name? It was the Ghost Pepper, Eric Gonzalez. So yeah, he fought Eric Gonzalez. I had Eric Gonzalez down to get beaten. His nickname is the Ghost Pepper. I said he might be a ghost after he gets killed by Trevor Peak. Because Trevor Peak, whilst he's not fought in the UFC before, he was on a 7-fight knockout streak. 7 wins, 7 knockouts. He made it 8 at the weekend in devastating fashion. And also, the other thing I like about Trevor Peak is that he's from Tennessee. I think for me he's the new Hick Diaz. Hick Diaz used to be Jason Knight. But I think the new Hick Diaz has got to be Trevor Peak. He seems so nice as well. I really hope to see more of him in the future, because literally it's like Bisping asked him, Trevor Peak, what was the first martial art that you took up? He's like, street fighting. Brilliant. What a great answer. And he just throws with so much power behind everything. Obviously, it left him off balance quite a lot. I think maybe the more experienced guys in that division may be able to capitalise on there were a few mistakes he was making, but you know what? The fact that he was swinging with everything he had kind of made up for it. And that knockout was tremendous. I mean, the last 3 shots were just unnecessary. I think the ref should have maybe stepped in after the first shot when he was against the fence, but it is what it is. And after that savagery, to have him come out and just be it's so refreshing to see a fighter's, there's so many fighters and people, fans of the sport, that like to just trash and rag on Dana White and the UFC, saying, they don't pay their fighters, they don't look after their fighters, and blah, 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 blah. But it was nice to see somebody in the post-fight interview say, you know what, thank you to Dana White and the UFC. They put me up for the last 6 weeks at the Performance Institute. All my meals been paid for. Everything's been cooked for me. All my training. And they do offer that to the young fighters. And I don't think they get nearly enough credit for it, honestly, because people are so fixated on trying to pretend like they don't pay their fighters. So they do. In reality, they do. Look at the figures. Look at the numbers. I'm not going to go into it here, but yeah, it was refreshing to see somebody. Yeah, he was just so happy to have made it that far, and I want to see him go further, because he just seems like a really good character. His Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I may not believe in religion. I don't have those kind of beliefs, but if you can use it to make your life better, then power to you. And who's to say what happens when we die? That's the question of his answer. But yeah, Trevor Peake, keep an eye on him. He's just fun to watch. Just absolutely devastatingly power, just throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, throwing hammer fists from standing. Love that. Absolutely love that. Brilliant. He was my standout fighter of UFC Vegas 70 by far and away was Trevor Peake. So keep an eye on him. Tatiana Suarez was also back. She's been out with injuries, played with injuries since 2019. It was wonderful to see her back. And as I thought she would, she got the submission. She looked it's like she's picked up where she's left off. I'm interested to see how far she can go in that division. It was really good. Great to see. Brendan Allen getting the submission over Andre Muniz in the middleweight division. That is huge. First man ever to submit Andre Muniz. Absolutely sensational. Just a sensational performance. I thought he might struggle on the ground with Muniz, but you know what? He showed Muniz, his levels, his skills, and that's a real feather in the cap. He looked pretty good standing. Muniz looked impressive standing as well, actually. Let's not pretend it was one-sided. I was struggling to see how they scored the first 2 rounds, because yes, in the second round, Brendan Allen got the takedown and he got top control, but he didn't do a lot with that top control, whereas Muniz was really winning the striking exchanges, at least in my opinion. He was landing the much more significant strikes. That's just how I was seeing it, but didn't go to the judges in the end. Allen choked him until he tapped. That was a standout performance. Well done, Brendan Allen. Looking forward to seeing who they match you up against next. In that middleweight division, there's a few. Maybe the winner of Vittori's next fight. But yeah, either way. Krylov got mad sick, so he wasn't able to fight. So they called that main event off. Hopefully they can reschedule that one soon, because I was quite looking forward to seeing what he could do against Ryan Spann. So, before I do the MMA news in 60 seconds, I would just like to remind you again, if you're watching this, hit subscribe. Don't think, hit subscribe. Thank you. MMA news in 60 seconds. Hick Diaz. Trevor Peake is one to watch. Got a huge knockout at the weekend. Goes to 8 knockouts in a row in 8 fights. 8 wins, 8 knockouts. Hick Diaz from Tennessee. Absolutely brilliant character. Keep an eye on that lad. Krylov, he got so sick so he got pulled from the card. Real shame. Hopefully they can actually, reschedule that one. Tatiana Suarez gets her first win since 2019, remains undefeated in her career, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what she can do next. Getting the submission, absolutely fantastic. Scott Coker says he is in talks with Francis Ngannou. Oh, I'm sure you are, Scott. I'm sure you are. Yeah, I'm sure you're offering him all the money. You fucking idiot. Anyway, California are voting on a pension for fighters, but for me, I was like, okay, so does that mean that you're going to put together a money pot for every self-employed person in California that just hasn't had the foresight to pay into a pension? God bless him, because that's effectively what it is. Next fight for Paddy Pimblett is going to be Drew Dober. That is interesting. That's possibly a tough fight. If Paddy Pimblett can win that one, then there's no denying. But Drew Dober is going to be a very, very tough test. If Pimblett fights the same way he fought Gordon, I could see Drew Dober winning that one. And that's the MMA news in roughly 60 seconds. I don't even know how long that was, because, full disclosure, I forgot to time it. So let's see how long that actually comes in at. So if you would like to see more of my professional timings and brilliant planning, and just hit subscribe. Just don't think, subscribe. Anyway, troll of the week this week. This one's my favourite, because Islam Makhachev has been talking about retiring because his mum, God bless her, doesn't want him to fight anymore, just like Khabib. And so it's been a trend with Dagestan fighters. So this one, you've got AJ Styles looking real happy, Undertaker behind him. It's the classic, the Dagestan fighters, and then behind him, their mums, because that's why they end up retiring. And that is all got time for this week. Going to be having a look at UFC 285. There's going to be a casuals guide, quick, light hits through it, and deep dive into a few of the fights. Bo Nickel and Pickett is probably going to be one of them. John Jones Garn as well, obviously. And that's it. So until next time, keep all those odds long and those bets terrible.